Okay, this is the first in a series of, I suppose, what you would call a producer's commentary on how I made the 50 years of hip hop mixtape in Ableton. The mix was pretty complex to put together as it had to be in chronological order, so I was limited to the songs available in each year and had to get all the BPMs and keys to fit all the way through. One of the things I did before I started was put together this huge spreadsheet of all the potential songs and then get their BPMs and keys and then work from that and then cut that down to a short list of stuff that would work. Then if something wouldn't fit, I could go back to that list and find other potential songs to maybe fit the gap with the right key or the right BPM. All the scratching was done using Technics SL1200 turntables, yep, the original silver ones, and a Pioneer S9 mixer with Serato. I rendered each section I wanted to scratch as a few seconds of audio, and then added it to Serato and scratched it, recording it into Ableton. Then I did the scratches all the way through the mix on their own track. I used individual tracks for almost every song, leading to a huge amount of tracks, around sort of 160, 170 mark for each decade. I basically decided to do it that way just to give me ultimate control over all the volumes and EQs and effects and everything on every track. Obviously the music had a huge amount of BPM changes all the way through, so I tried to make that as smooth as possible. Here's one at the start where I found a section where I can change the BPM as smoothly as possible. Don't stop. This bit is probably the most famous scratch sample ever. It's the end of Fab Five Freddy Change the Beat. So, because I wanted to sort of keep it authentic, I let the song play exactly the same as it does on the original. There's no editing, it literally finishes and then it plays the scratch sample. So yeah, in case you didn't already know, that's where that sample originally came from. This is one of my favourite parts of this decade. It's a bit crazy. It's got a BPM change, a scratch, and 4 tracks playing at once. So, as you can see here, I used Double D and Steinsky, the Lesson 1, which is a pretty famous mix, one of the really early ones from 1983 that used breaks and songs from around that era.
Now we come to the payoff.
So that gives you the 3-2-1 part of the mix. And then it goes into like a really fast scratch that I did over the top using the end Just Feel It bit of the Hashim All Nayfish song, which is coming in at the same time as one of the 4 tracks that are in the mix.
Now we come to the payoff.
Throughout the mix, I used different versions of just the one song that was in there to get it to do what I wanted. So here's an example where I've used white lines like the original version, and then it goes into a remix to give me the outro. The more I see, the more I do. In some places in the mix, I've actually ended up using 4 versions of just the one song just to get it to do what I want. So like an a cappella, an instrumental, an intro, or if I can find a version that just had an intro with the drum beat on it, I've like used that, and then that leads into the original version of the song. This part of the mix is a reference to the Bridge Wars, which was a feud between Boogie Down Productions and MC Shan about where the birth of hip-hop was. They both had different songs having a go at each other about where hip-hop began, so I chopped the 2 together.
South Bronx, the South Bronx. South Bronx, the South Bronx.
Right, this part drove me mad. I could not get Judgy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble, to sit with anything. I'm not sure what it was about with the original, whether the sampling of that time was out of time or the drum had a swing on it or what it was, but whatever I did with it, it would not sit on the beat and just sounded like it was out all the time. So the workaround I came up with was going off and getting the original sample, which is the theme from my Dream of Genie, which is a 60s TV program. So I found that original sample. And then I ran Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble through Serato Studio to strip out the sample and just leave me the drum beat and the vocals. It doesn't always work too well using that technique, but this time it worked really well. So it just gave me this.
Listen, homeboys, don't mean to bust your bubble, but girls of the world ain't nothing but trouble.
And then I put over the sample, which I warped as well to the correct BPM, and it went together really nicely and didn't cause me any issues with the drum beat sounding out and the mix sounding sloppy.
Listen, homeboys, don't mean to bust your bubble, but girls of the world.
And finally, this is another part I really like, one of my favourite parts of the 79 to 89 section of the mix. It starts with Chub Rock Caught Up, and then I edit that into just the drum beat of Chub Rock Caught Up, and then I bring in Big Daddy Kane Ain't No Half Stepping over the top with the acapella of Slick Rick Children's Story.
Once upon a time, not long ago, when people wore pajamas and lived life slow.
And then it goes into Mantronic's King of the Beats. And what I love about this is everything all sits really nicely in key. It's a really nice flow to it.
Once upon a time, not long ago, wore pajamas and lived life slow. Where laws were stern and justice stood, and people were behaving like they ought to good. There lived a little boy who was by another little boy, and this is what he said. Me and you tonight, we're gonna make some cash, robbing old folks and making